Okay, hello guys, and good morning. So, depending on the time in your country, uh, here in Benin is 11:05. So, good morning, and I hope you are doing good, and hope you already get introduced to like the kind of introduction, like self introduction, with your this week challenge. Um, so I think this is a session to ask question about the challenge, and so that we can go through together and make some things clear as much as possible. So Emmanuel is not there, but we can do it. Like I think apart from this, there will be a lot of Slack chatting also, and I think Friday I will also set a talk about the challenge, and for the week I think for the week we will be talking about that, like when we give a tutorial, maybe by the end we take 5 minutes or 2 minutes to talk about the challenge to see how you guys are doing. So I think what I will do is to like I will present you the again the challenge, like let me see if I will share my screen, and from there I will, yes. Okay, so like okay, this is actually your challenge for this week. I hope you can see. Just confirm me if you can see my screen. Like
Yes, you can see your screen.
okay, that's great. And so the this week challenge is about sales, sales forecasting, like sales, yes, forecasting and sales prediction. So about the pharmaceutical company. So you have sales and you have customers, and you have stores and you have the dates. Then we want to predict like the core things about this week challenge is to predict the sales, yeah, of the stores some week before it happened. So like this start with like the presentation of so business need and the data and the features. So I guess like I hope you was able to get your data, because yes, so I clicked on this link and I was able to get the data. So of course, as you realize, the data are coming from Kaggle, and yes, why? Because yes, within this data are very useful. Like if you can practice on that, we are looking for like make some prediction and be able to deploy. So the core things is about the deployments. But don't worry, I know that all of some of you already have some knowledge about deployment. So normally, when you build a machine learning model, you will have to save your model. Yes. And once you save your model, you can call your model back when you have new input you want to predict about. So the core things is about when you are predicting, where can we get a view? Where could we visualize your prediction? So this is about the deployment, right? So like you can actually use Tableau for deployment, or you can use Heroku as hosting using then Flask for the development. So I think this week is about using Flask and Heroku. So like definitively we are also going to use Tableau, maybe for next week. I don't, depending on, I will plan that with teams so that this week we focus on Flask, and then we see how to integrate also Tableau, because definitively Tableau is very uh, useful in the industry. So I'm working and I know what I'm talking about. That the things with Flask is that you will have to write Python code to get the things done to make your dashboard. And so those who are like, if you use to code, then yeah, I think it's challenging, but you can manage. So that's also why you would have realized that we have added some groups in the weekly challenge. So now you are not working alone; you are working in group, so that you can see like how to divide your things, the task, how to define the question. Like, let's say some people will be managing one part and some other will. I think for the deployment thing, you can do both. You can do your, because there is three things from my opinion. I think there is explanatory data analysis, and there is machine learning, and then there is the deployment of the machine learning. So like for me, it's like, yes, all of them can be done in parallel. Like maybe the explanatory data analysis need to be done before to like explore things, but the deployment, how to actually get an account with Heroku, how to set up, integrate Heroku, how to start a starting code with Flask, and yes, so those things, how to actually uh, visualize the output of a machine learning model in Heroku together with all the other features, and how to actually start plotting, yes, from Python, and then pass it to the server. Like I think uh, some basic things can be started like before the model and the output and the data analysis, all of those things get be done. So I think this, you can start like working in parallel. Yes. So that's why we provide also groups, because this is it's a lot of work. At least I don't know if I know that only one person cannot do that in 1 week. So that's why we provide groups actually, so that you can help each other, and also be feel free to help any person who asks a question on Slack. I know that the deployment part is the core thing, so that's why I'm talking. For those who have already some view, some knowledge about Heroku, good resources, feel free to share, because yes, it's always good to help community. Like you are working as a team. Like suppose you are working in a department, so like be helpful and proactive. So this is your challenge. Yeah. So the data are here, and the features, the columns, the variables are also described here. And so as I was telling you, you have the sales, and then you have the dates, let's say the time, and then you have the store, yes, and whatever. So I think that's all. So like those three components are your core components about this week data set. So like you should really put attention into those three components, like the sales, the store, and the type. Yes. So like if you are doing any kind of analysis, this is a good starting point, like having this big picture, like we want to predict sales. But what do we have? Yes, we have time. We have sales characteristic. We have customer. Yes. So those three around will be like helpful. So it's a kind of big picture I want to give you. So now we need to understand, as when we want to make some machine learning, we want to do some prediction. First of all, we need to understand our data set. We need to understand what we have to do, and what is requested and things like blah blah. And so now this time this tutorial is just like starting from the explanatory data analysis, as most of the tasks in machine learning, when like as a data scientist, if you want to do machine learning, you cannot come and jump in machine learning like in the first step, and at least you will do some data explanatory data analysis to see like, yes, how my data look like, what are the, I don't know, the shape, yes, some variables, what are the continuous variables, how can I visualize them actually, how can I do some univariate, uh, we show you univariate non-graphic, like without plotting analysis, univariate with some plotting, bivariate actually to combine. And so this is where cross tables becomes very useful. But in this explanatory data analysis, I know that most of the question has been split in like and designed such that you can just look at the question and then think about the methods like the plots, if it's the plotting tools, or the tables, or like, yes, so whatever you can manage to do, then I think it's designed such that you can look at the question and then think about
So,
what can you use actually to answer the question. I think someone is asking something.
so I'm actually just
Okay, yeah,
hello,
okay,
Aija.
hello, yes,
So I just actually want
yes,
people who has read this challenge description
yes,
to kind of start really do they understand the question. Usually what I've
exactly,
noticed is that people start asking like late. It's kind of in the middle. So if something is not clear, the very first day is a very good one. Just
yes.
read it, and if something is not clear, if a topic is not familiar to you, if you don't know how to do it, and start posting now, so that your week gets easier as you go on. So just learning from our previous week. So read it now, and this is a very good time to start like asking and
Asking questions.
probably start even typing them in Slack so that it gets answered, even if you're not there yet to answer it.
Yes, definitely. Yes. So maybe the time they are thinking,
Yeah.
maybe look at the data set. I think I have downloaded the data set, at least the training set and the stuff like, yes. So this is the training set. As I was telling you, the core things here is the sales. And then you have some dimension, some features like you want to visualize at the first step, like in data visualization. Let's say you want to visualize the sales behavior, but according to the dimension you actually have, I told you you have the dimension. So from there, you can even extract a lot of things like in Google Sheet, for example. I think it's the same thing as Excel. If you have some useful function like, yes, I want to get the year about these things, I think you can also write Python code to get that. Then yes, I want to get let's say the month. Yes, so you can actually manage to extract the month from the date. Yes, I want to get the week. So there are some the week, the weekday, the week number. So there are some features you can definitively actually manage to extract from the data also as you want, and then you are able now to explore like in time dimension to make actually a very good dashboard. Like you want to visualize per day, or you want to visualize like per week or per weekday or per month or per trimester or per semester, depending on the amount of data you will have here. So the another things to look at is like the store. So I don't know if the like the geographical information about the store is here, but if not, I think you have a lot of information about the store description. So one things you can look at is actually here. So like in the data set, just presenting the data set. So their store type, their assortment, their competition distance. So there are a lot of dimension you can actually look at. So like feel free, just ask question
Hello,
as you are
Green.
going. Yes. Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Okay, basically, please, just one question. I think we are predicting for 6 days from before, Abi, or we are predicting 6 days after.
Uh, I think before, yes, before,
That before the sales occurred, right?
yes, before this, yeah.
Oh, is that true, oh, Professor? I think it's prediction for 6 weeks after. Is it six
Yes,
weeks or
6 weeks, not day. Six
Okay,
okay,
weeks,
not
six.
after?
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
6 weeks, yes, of course.
Thank you.
So this explanatory data analysis will basically be your interim submission. So I advise you to just read the question, and if you have any issue, like the first question is actually asking about seasonality. So in your place, I will ask myself, do I know what seasonality means? How can I actually do like seasonality analysis? So the seasons in my data, how can I actually get them? So the question is basically like, are the seasons similar between these two groups? So how can I actually compare the seasons? So I have a metric like the sales, and then I have the season. So how can I actually compare the season to take some decision to say like this session is actually performing than other sessions. So like just think about, and if you have some question, just let us know. Check and compare sales behavior before, during, and after holidays. So the holidays is like in the middle, and then you have before and during, and then after. So the sales are the more the core metrics. So like how to aggregate actually the sales and then visualize. So before you have days, and during you have days, and after you have some days also. So like if you divide your things, you split your things, you should have some twins like yes, before, during, and after. So this trend, if you have enough data, you can just be visualize that also in like monthly basis or per week, like some week before, some week during the holidays, and week after. So it could basically be like days, daily basis, or weekly basis, or monthly basis, depending on the kind of data you have, the amount of data you have. So I like this in your choice. So as you are reading, feel free. So how does promotion affect the sales? So surely like you will have some variables which will be indicating you like, yes, this is a promotion time, this is not a promotion time. Then you will use some aggregation method to see like, yes, some cross table to see like, yes, where I have promotion, where I not have promotion, they are not performing like the sales, the same. So like think about more like in terms of visualization, in terms like visualization. So there, for example, let's like you can just make like bar plot like to see the variation, the difference between the promotion times and the standard time, for example, and make sure you get useful insight. So every time you visualize, you will get some insight. So depending on to whom you are presenting your data set, to whom you are making your data set, if you are making it from analysts, for example, then you will have to go in some details. So that's why I was talking you about, I was telling you about the daily trend, the weekly trend, the monthly trend. So if you are presenting this to a CEO, for example, and you have lot of data, then this guy will just want to see a global view. So instead of presenting like a very long trend, maybe like let's summarize in terms of like what is the average sales before the holidays, average during, and average after, or the total sales. Yes, so like just think like if I'm presenting to this person, then I should like make the things feel like that. And if I'm presenting to some people who need more details to take decision, then yes, I would be more flexible. Like this will definitively make your dashboard because you have a lot of components, you have view level. So that's what I will talk about, let's say in this afternoon, like in the building process of your dashboard, how to choose like the metric and the dimension and the view. So I think we will discuss about that later. But if I have also time, I can just like discuss about that now so that you are free in the afternoon to work on your challenge. Yes. So yeah, so any question, just feel free to ask in this session. I'm just going through explanatory data analysis, so that if you get some ticks somewhere, so could the promo be deployed in more effective day? Which store should promotion be deployed in? Yes. So like when you are asking like this, you are asking a question like that. How can you actually think to go for the solution? Yes. In which store the promotion will be deployed. So like there was a question which asked where the promotion was working as well. Like, yes, how does promotion affect the sales? So definitively there will be some store the promotion are like affecting the sales, and some other store the promotion are not affecting the sales. So that now, if I were the data scientist, maybe just think about like what is the kind of the profile of the store where the sales are affecting the promotion are affecting the sales, and then use that information to actually detect like where should we apply promotion. Yes. Or instead of that, we need promotion basically where we are not performing, like we are not reaching the amount of sales we were expecting. So in this spirit, I would give a promotion to a person who is like dormant. So in terms of store, I will give a promotion where I think customers are not so well engaged. So I will like express them my level of interest, my the customer care. So like in terms of promotion, and then I will expect that with that now there will be more like active. There will be that this will increase the sales and the things. So like this is also related to hypothesis testing. Yes. So like
Yeah. So,
we
Jean, because
yeah.
I have to go in 5 minutes, can I just jump in?
Okay. Yeah. Jump in.
And
Yeah.
and I think you can continue. And I
Yeah.
think so. I think this is really great. So use this opportunity to understand, as Ja just goes into detail to explain what is expected. You know, make sure that you understand what you know, what you don't know, what you should read, and like that. And just note what you don't understand. Just ask them now, like right, just while he's explaining. Go to Slack and ask them, because later it might help you, right? So it's kind of, don't wait until you jump into work to ask questions. That kind of takes you time. So strategize. I think we discussed that in the morning. And another aspect is that this work, I don't know if you already explained that there will be in a group work, right? So
Yes.
you will be
I told
explaining that probably if you haven't. So, and the point is that this week we really want you to go and focus in terms of like how you're going to present analysis through a dashboard. And there will be element that is Flask. And Flask, for some of you, you probably have used it. It's a kind of a web server, like kind of a server language where it's written totally in Python. In the background, it has some other Tornado and stuff, but it's kind of like, it's an easy way to serve, like to create APIs. So you used APIs so far, but now you're going to kind of make APIs just yourself. And it's a very easy, it's just a Python function. You just write a Python function and you just basically, it's called decorate. You decorate it with the paths of your website. So it's a very simple thing, and you really would learn a lot understanding and how things are done this way. And then it's called microsystems. These days, Docker and all that basically are kind of microsystems where one thing becomes responsible for doing something. And that's what you're going to try to do in a group, is to try to, Heroku is for free, you should register, and then you should spin basically one instance, and that in that instance, you basically put your code. We will help you in that, but it's just the whole experience. Some already, you already have, some of you already have experience, so you should help others. And then you serve basically whatever your analysis. So far you have been using is just Jupyter Notebook. Now you're going to turn it into a script that will do something and kind of plot, for example, and that you will see the plot over a browser from a remote instance. So it's kind of really exciting, because that kind of skill is so essential for many ways. Like, and just it will make your CV quite really good. So focus on that, and it will. The reason why we put it in a group is because it's kind of a little bit more task, understanding Flask, writing the Flask part, like the code, and connecting your analysis to the Flask, and connecting to, and then Heroku, registering to Heroku, and then kind of also setting up the instance, the deployment part to run Python. So because there are certain pieces, we ask you to just work in groups of 3, and 3 of you kind of handle different multitasks. So you have to divide clearly where is your strengths, where your weakness. If someone has strengths in kind of computing, more like setting up a server, that person does the Heroku part, and then the other person writes the code, and another person does the analysis kind of thing. The analysis everyone does, and I think this is just a thing. So try to finish it in that mentality where like everybody has to work together, otherwise you're not going to finish it easily. So, and we don't want everyone to get stressed, and that's what of the reason also to be in a group. So I think, yeah, like if we don't understand anything now, what is going to happen in the week, right? Today, ask them. And by tomorrow, when you do the interim submission, you should be able to basically have a clear mind about analysis and everything. The only thing that should be remaining from Wednesday on is like how you are going to deploy. It's kind of, you understood the, you know, like that. So you can talk about all these different issues with yourselves. You can ask them, you can create, I already saw that a console group has been created, but you know, you can create just internally and add the tutors in your group, and really get the best out of this week. And don't try to kill yourself just doing it alone. Try to benefit, you know, kind of complement each other. So that's what I want to say, and just continue, Ja. And yeah, I will be available throughout the day, just answering some questions. If there are, just keep asking.
Thank you, Yabi. Yes.
Great. Thanks,
Very
guys.
good. Yes.
Good luck. Bye.
Okay, so guys, yes, as Yabi told you, it's very important this week to get handings the deployment things, and Flask is not easy to manage. Yes, I know that. Yes, and that's why we provide the group, as I was telling you. So, and we will also be here to assist. And also, if people have more like resources to share, feel free to help your classmate. This one will be much appreciated. Yes. Yes, and so where was I? I was in the challenge. I was going through the question, and here now, so like, where was I exactly? I don't know anymore. So maybe here. So could the promotion be deployed in more effective way? So like, yes, when you look at the behavior, the how the promotion actually perform, can we think about good ways to deploy the promotion? So if we are not passing the promotion to the right store, are there some specific store, like in terms of profile of store, like where we should actually pass the promotion? Yes. So like this is like the kind of things, the kind of thinking I think you should have in this part, like just thinking about that in terms of plotting, also in terms of, yeah, visualization, more like visualization. So demonstrate, like tells the story. And if the I just put in the interim submission 3 slides, but I think if it's not enough, because I know that when it comes to deal with plotting visualization, could require more space. Manage. I think you can manage, but don't give things that are not useful. Just focus on the core things. Manage the space as you want, as you are providing clear explanation and useful insight. Then I am happy when I'm reading, and tutors also are happy and when they are reading. So like manage. I know that visualization could take like more space. So manage as you want. Like be sure you don't give things that are not useful. Like be sure so you provide some small explanation when you actually plot something. There should be like some story, like the things we can the takeaways. So here Trend of customer behavior during store open and closing times. Yes, exactly. So during this, so this one, I don't need to explain, like, so it's like twin. So here now, if I was the data scientist, I will think about what is the best plotting type. What is the best plot type? Like, is it a line plot or is it bar plot I will use to actually fit this question well? So because when you are visualizing, you should, because we are talking about dashboard. So dashboard at the first level need to be attractive. Like when you have an eye on it, you should be able to take some information. You should be able to pick some information in the minute or in the second. Like, yes. So it need to be attractive. So this attractiveness is more likely related to the kind of plot you are actually using with the kind of data you have. So, like, think about like if they ask for twins of customer behavior. So, customer behavior basically, I think about that like in terms of number of customer. So there is a features in the data set who is describing the number of customers. So customer behavior, like, yes, how many customers do we have depending on the closing? I'm just thinking about like that. You may have some other things feel like some other levels that I will not see. Just put them, but think about, yes, the kind of clothing you can actually use to derive this information. Yeah, so that it look like really useful, like talking, like uh, we can really use it to, yeah. And, yeah, give me something. Okay, so okay, so apart from that, so which store are open on all weekdays? Oh, so I'm sorry, I was sharing my screen like, okay, I was going into, okay, sorry about that. So which store are open on all weekday? Which store are open on all weekday? How does that affect the sales on weekend? Yes. So like which store are open? This is like, I think this is like a SQL task. Like which store are open on all weekday? So select from store where open time is just like all the week. Like, so think about that. And you could also think about in terms of number of store that were open in all weekday. Yes, and how does that affect the sales on weekend? So like basically, if I were the data scientist, I will take like two groups of store. Yes, so those who were open all the week in the all the day in the week, and those who are open like not all the day, and I will compare now the weekend uh, sales, like making, for example, some bar plot or some bus plot to visualize how they are performing. Yes, or sometimes the plot like any kind of protein you think is fit, just use it. So, but think about it like that. So check how assortment type affect the sales. Yes, basically some cross table, some pivot table, or some pivot plotting. Like, yes. So how the assortment type? So the assortment type will be like a qualitative variables. So how this qualitative variable will actually affect the sales performance. Yes. So how does the distance to the next competitor affect the sales? Yes. So I would like, oh, I don't put this one in. If I would know, I think, suppose for example, you have the stores, and then you have the geographical coordinate, like the longitude and the latitude of the location of each. Oh no. what I'm talking about. Not the store. You have, for example, the customer. Yes, you have the customer, and for each customer, let's say you have, for example, the geographical coordinates, like the longitude and the latitude, and then you want to know to determine the number of store uh, the big point where like where at the big location you should actually place some store, like you have the longitude and you have the latitude, and then you are asked to place store to create a store location, so where will actually you will actually put the store location. So I don't I want to hear from you, so that this question, for example, I'm asking you, have the custom, let me design it for you here so that we can discuss about. You have the customer, so let's say the customer ID, you will try to give me some answer. So you have the customer ID. How can I actually oh, let me see. No, let me see on. Okay, so the customer ID, I can just put anything like. So you have the customer ID, and then you have the geographical coordinates, like the longitude and the latitude. So you have it, blah blah blah, and so this should. So I can just let me just put it like that, and you have the geographical coordinate like that. So how to think in terms of problem solving, like you have those things, and they want to place like, okay, at the beginning, let's say they want to place 5 star. Yes, number of star, number of star equal to 5, and then they are asking you where to place those stars. So in terms of the output should be star 1. I want the longitude and the latitude. Star 2, so like if I do like, okay, so for each star I want the longitude and the latitude, and as a data scientist, you are given this data about the customer ID and the geographical coordinates, and then you are asked to provide where should we locate the store, the 5 star actually. So like, how can you actually solve this? I need some discussion. Anyone to want to try? Any idea about that? I can. Oh, I didn't share that.
Jean, I think you are muted yourself. I can't hear you. Sebastian? Sebastian, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, it seems that Jean is having some problem with his mic. He can't talk. Probably he can hear us, but we cannot hear him. He's saying, yeah, he's saying that we should just like try to continue the discussion with the learners.
Okay. All right. All right.
So, do you have the challenge open already there with you?
Let me. But does anyone have any question or something so that we get into more specifics as to what learners don't understand or want more clarity on?
Yeah. If someone has a question so far from what Jean has already said, or maybe something else, so that we can be more specific, as Sebastian said, because we are running out of time and you have
That's
another
right.
tutorial. So if you have any question.
Hi guys, I just wanted to ask what exactly we're supposed to submit for the interim and the final submission as well.
Yeah, so the interim only tax one.
Yeah.
Just tax one. And then for the final, I think it's everything from tax 1, 2, and 3. I mean,
Yes.
by the, you are submitting one, you would have done the tax one already, so you just add it to the tax 2 and 3 and then submit.
Okay. So do we have to submit the notebook for the interim?
I think it's just a slide.
It's just a slide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a slide.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the final submission? Do we have to prepare a report or just the notebook and the Heroku link are enough?
I think the final submission should be all of them. Like you should provide notebook for the coding aspect, and also you should write a final report.
Yeah, report. Which was visualizations and other things that you want to do. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Sure. Any other question from anyone? Yeah. So is the Heroku GitHub and then the report.
Yeah, and just to add something like on this, the interim submission, you realize that from what Jean was saying, it's not really complicated. The task one, all you have to do, you have to maybe try to see some trends, some patterns. You just have to do some plotting, the suitable plots, maybe to also to do some kind of cross table, to just see like some relationship between like what we're asking here. So it's not really difficult so far for the task one. So I think you guys will be able to manage it. And in case you have also some blockers, feel free to Slack us. We are there. Sebastian is there. I'm there. Jean also is there. Also, so if you have question, you can just ask.
Yeah. So someone is asking whether we are to merge those data sets or we were to explore one by one. So so there is the training set and the test set, right? You are not supposed to merge them. Just handle them, explore them one after the other. Yeah.
Can I suggest something?
Yeah.
Since this week's task requires a lot of time, why don't we just incorporate the report into the notebook? I mean, we can write our report in the markdown cells before every code and just submit the notebook and the Heroku link only. Because if we try to do all the things, I don't think we can manage to complete them on time. What do you guys think?
You mean for the interim submission?
No, for the final submission.
For the final submission. Well, so the whole idea is that when you do your analysis in your notebook and all that, you have to report to a CEO, right? Or someone, or your manager, right? And the idea is that they don't understand, you know, code, right? And so you want to have a separate, I mean, for your notebook, that one will be ideal for maybe your senior or your supervisor who is also a senior data scientist to go through, right? But then for your manager or for your CEO who does not understand data science or coding, giving them the notebook is just too much, right? There will be a lot of redundancy. And so you want to communicate the report, the essential things that they need to know from your analysis. You know, even with your analysis, you realize that you are going to do so many analysis, not all will be useful for the CEO, right? But then it may be useful for you, or it may help you to know what steps to take on, you know, further down the line in your analysis. But then for the CEO, it might not be relevant to him or her. And you want to, so the idea of the report is, now you have done the analysis, the prediction and everything, what is the essential things that the CEO needs to know to be able to do make a decision, right? So that is the essence of the report. That is why we submit that one separate from the notebook and then this time the Heroku as well.
Okay, so just to add on that, as Sebastian said, the notebook is more technical, and you realize that the report is less technical. Like someone who doesn't know anything about data science or coding, if he or she reads your report, she or he should be able to understand what you have done so far, the kind of analysis and the kind of like results you get from your analysis. So this is the main difference. If you just put them together, like in the notebook, like there are some kind of people, as Sebastian said, like your CEO, he or she will not really be able to understand, because that one is more technical. That one is more for your supervisor or for your maybe teammate to better understand the technical aspects. So this is the main difference. I think writing a report separately is very useful, and it will be really helpful for you guys once you start working in a company, as Sebastian said.
Yeah, guys, I see what you're trying to do, but I'm asking in regard with the circumstances. So given the circumstances, I still believe it's enough to just submit the Jupyter notebook and the dashboard. I mean, the dashboard itself is very descriptive. So like if you are aiming to present it to our CEO or our boss, I think we can just show them the dashboard and explain what it does. I think that would be sufficient. But like if we are really supposed to do that, it's okay. I can go with that. Thank you.
Okay, for me, in this case, I would suggest you to put this on Slack, so that like everybody, Aaron, Yebi, everybody will see, and we'll just put our comment about that. So if you really would like to have things like that, please write down what you just said on Slack. For example, all week 5 channel, and there we with all learners, your colleagues, will be able to see what can be done about that. So.
All right.
Okay,
So,
thank you, John.
Any question before we end? Okay, so if there's no other question, I guess we can end the session now.
Okay, guys, any other question before we end this session? Especially for the task 1, the interim submission, as you are supposed to submit it tomorrow. Okay, I think Sebastian, it's okay. John, you can stop the recording. And if they have additional questions, you are there on the Slack, so